Hi Frank. Obviously, going into this game, there's quite a few injuries potentially. Just wanted an update on the sort of status of Christian Pulisic, Azpilicueta, and Pedro, and maybe a few others as well. We've seen her in the squad like Kanté and Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, Pulisic out, Azpilicueta out, Willian out, Pedro out, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's back in the squad. Kanté is in the squad. Yeah. Do you want more detail in the injuries?
Yes, please. And yeah, are they fit to start, Kanté and Loftus-Cheek? And how bad are the injuries? Are they going to affect next season as well?
Yeah, they are fit to start tomorrow, both. And the injuries with Christian, we're looking at probably around a 6-week injury. With Azpilicueta, not quite so much. Hopefully a 3-week injury. Pedro, as we know, is moving on, but his injury is hopefully a 6-week injury. He had an operation earlier in the week. And Willian's injury is improving, but not right for this game.
Hi, Frank. Obviously, you've got a big task tomorrow trying to turn this tie around 3-0 down. Do you believe you can turn it around? But if not, what are you hoping to see from your side tomorrow?
I believe we can. Otherwise, I shouldn't be here. And we have to believe. More importantly, the players have to believe as they take on this game. It's a huge task. There's no doubt. To lose the home game 3-0, we have to understand the situation we're in. So it's going to be extremely tough. But games have turned to big degrees, some famous games, some great games. So we have to believe that we could have the opportunity to do something special. It's going to be really tough, but we have to go into the game with that thought, give everything to the game, play with confidence sometimes in difficult situations. Can it free us up slightly to say, okay, well, there's a task here, but can we give everything to try and do it against a really good team? And that's what I expect to see out of the players, not an attitude of this is going to be a very difficult match in a negative sense. It has to be a positive sense that we have to tackle this in the right way.
Hi, Frank, you're right. Just moving on from that, what do you say to your players going out? Do you go all guns out? Is there any other way to attack the game, or do you have to still keep it tight for, say, 10, 15 minutes so you don't concede?
Yeah, I wouldn't approach it in sort of either knows all guns blazing or keep it tight. That's kind of not exactly the conversation. The conversation generally is trying to get our game right for the game as a whole. When you play a team with the quality of Bayern Munich, you have to respect what they have on the ball and you have to defend very well. We didn't defend well enough at Stamford Bridge, and that's why you can see 3 goals in a short space, which changed the face of the whole game. And of course, knowing that we need to score goals, we have to trust that if we move the ball well and play confidently and play like we have for big parts of the season, we can cause most teams problems. So we'll need to get our game absolutely spot on to compete, to try and turn this around.
Hello, Frank. I just wonder whether I can ask you a little bit more about Willian, please. I realise he's injured, but it's obviously a difficult situation as well because it seems clear that he's probably going to move on, isn't he? Are you disappointed in the way it's ended? Is it obviously a player that you wanted to keep? You know, it must be disappointing that you've not been able to keep him, and maybe, you know, is there anything in your mind that suggests that if he was staying, that he might be able to push it and might be able to play in this game?
No, John, I read a headline earlier that sort of mentioned disappointment from. It actually doesn't matter what disappointment from any party in this situation. I think I haven't got an answer for you first and foremost because Willian remains our player at the moment. He's injured. He's injured and was injured for the cup final. Was injured for tomorrow, and he would have given everything to play in those games. I know Willian well. I've seen him. He's carried this injury a little bit in the latter parts of restart. In terms of being disappointed, certainly as a club, I think we have done everything we can to explain to Willian. Mine and his relationship is really close. And I would have no feeling of disappointment if he does move on. Played with him, coached him. He's a fantastic man and a fantastic player. I think he will feel like that about Chelsea. I'll leave him to say his own words, but I don't want anyone to try and find a negative attitude because the club have acted very well in this as well. I don't have the answer. If he moves on, I personally would wish him well. And that's kind of where we're at now.
Hi Frank. Just when you talk about disappointment with Willian, I mean, what if he does leave? What kind of hole do you think that he leaves for you? Because obviously he's had a great season.
Yeah, well, I think he leaves a hole as in a player that's been here for, I think, 7 seasons, performed and been big parts of successful teams. And when I came in this year and we had a very a lot of issues in terms of younger players back from loan, transitional elements to the whole group. Willian was one you looked at and you relied on in terms of experience and quality. And he's shown me that all year. But he has his own decisions to make. And we as a club will always want to move forward no matter what. Eden Hazard left last year. The club continues. You try and work in the forward direction, which I think we have in many ways. And that remains the same whatever player will leave the club.
Hi, Frank. Just on Christian Pulisic, I guess he's obviously will be battling to be fit for the start of the season as and when that finishes. And just lastly on Willian, I'm sure obviously I assume that you wouldn't be worried about him playing for a rival, would you? Given obviously David Luiz has played for Arsenal. I suppose with all these things, it's about being sort of mature about the whole thing, isn't it? And understanding that these sorts of things just happen in football sometimes. Yeah,
I mean, when a player's out of contract, they have the freedom and the right to go and play wherever they want. So you have to understand that if they stay in the league and it's a player of Willian's quality, for instance, then they will go and contribute to that team. I think we have to accept that and move on. I've got no problems with that. He's right. With Christian Pulisic, I think it's going to be touch and go for the start of the season. 6 weeks, if you do the maths, gets very close to and probably into the start of the season. But we have to treat it right. The injury, he's been fantastic, although I had a couple of these kind of injuries this season. But in the big scheme of things, when Christian will reflect on his first season, I think his improvement levels come in here when you think of the goals and assists he's had this year. I think the best of his career, and that's in the first year in the Premier League. And from where he's gone in the start to where he ended up in how he was playing in restart, he should be very happy because that's down to his work. So we'll get him fit and we'll get him ready. If he misses the first part of the season, as in the first 1 or 2 games or so, then we'll have a firing Christian, hopefully as hungry as he looks for restart.
Hi, Frank. Just quickly, you mentioned earlier about some of the famous nights of turnarounds in the Champions League. Obviously, you had your own famous one here in Munich in 2012. Will you try and use those? And if so how can you use those to try and inspire your players?
I won't use that for this game. I think if I try to use short stories from my career to the players through the season, they'll be very bored of me. So I won't use that. But I will speak to the players and make them aware of the opportunity they have here to show that they want to turn this game around, to act like they want to turn this game around, and then believe that they can turn the game around. I think that's very clear, and it mustn't be short on them. It's been a long season for us, successful in many ways, and now we have a huge challenge in a one-off game to try and do something special. And I understand the difficulties of the game, so all I want to see is a performance and an attitude from the team that attempts to do something special. It will be very, very difficult. I don't have to pretend that with the players. I just need to see them perform. I believe they will.
Hi, Frank. Just following on from that, really, that same season, the Napoli game was obviously one of the great comebacks as well. And I know you don't particularly like talking about your playing career now as a manager, but does being involved in a game like that as a player help to prepare for a game like this and prepare the mindset of players?
I really don't know. I don't want to go over my answer again, but this is a new generation of players, a new era of players. That the experience of losing a cup final, all I got last week was how great will it be if they win a cup final? What that mean? The experience of losing a cup final will be a big part of certainly the young players' careers. Tomorrow is a big experience for them, no matter what. A fantastic stadium, a fantastic team, a challenge if we can try and overturn a result. It doesn't matter about any historical change-arounds that have happened in football. It doesn't matter. It's about what the players do on the day. Yes, I will try and be very positive with them and try and inspire them to do something special. But we have to see and we have to work first and foremost and approach the game in the right way.